order. The time is 7:02 p.m. and we ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Gagan. Trustee Abbott.
Present.
Trustee Krusek.
Present.
Trustee Page.
Present.
Trustee Martinez.
Present.
Trustee Blair.
Present.
Mayor Cunningham.
Present.
Quorum is established.
Thank you very much. If you would please join us in a moment of silence as we dedicate tonight's meeting in honor of Veterans Day and all of our veterans. To our outstanding Woodridge VFW Post 1578, their families, and again, all veterans and all the men and women serving our country today. We thank you and we ask everyone to please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by our VFW Post, the Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach, the Woodridge Police Department, and the Woodridge Public Library. So this evening, under special awards and presentations, we have quite a bit tonight to celebrate. And first, we would like to invite the Woodridge VFW Post 1578, the Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach, the Woodridge Rotary, the library, anyone that had a hand in a recent letter writing campaign. And I'd like to invite up everyone, and we can kind of share what our community did for Veterans Day and in honor of Veterans Day. Yes, we have you face this way. I know the camera comes this way. I'm sorry. We welcome everyone and thank you so much for being here this evening. And I would just hand it over and have our VFW and Janes. I don't know who's speaking this evening, but we're so happy to have you all here tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
I can start.
You're very welcome.
I'll just stand. I have to put my glasses on.
And this is Ann Banks, the president of the Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach in Woodridge and the Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach team. And Ann, please go ahead. Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, good evening, Mayor and the Village Board, and thank you for allowing us to be here and to recognize us. I'd like to just talk a little bit about JANO, who we are, just some information for people that don't know or aren't aware of who we are and what we do. And then our partnership with VFW Post 1578, the library, and District 68 with the letter writing event. So I can't remember everything, so I wrote it down. So again, my name is Ann Banks. I'm the founder and president of JANO. On behalf of Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach, we thank you for the opportunity to share information about our organization and the joint partnership being recognized here tonight. What started as a grassroots outreach effort, bringing neighborhood children, youth, seniors, and families together during the summer months has evolved into a not-for-profit 501c3 organization that is as diverse as Woodridge. Established in 2016, our mission and purpose was simple: connecting with our neighbors, being a positive force that fosters togetherness, provide resources, positive group activities such as the Woodridge Police Department GRITS program, and meet our family and having fun, most important. It was important to encourage, build trust, support, and meet our families where they are in life. Weather permitting, our events can begin as early as April and end in December. Our events are held at the neighborhood Echo Point Park. When needed, we also utilize the ARC for indoor events. Our families always enjoy a meal, social interaction, and most important, getting to know and appreciate cultural differences while working to close generational gaps. Our long-term partnerships with various village organizations, local churches and businesses, Woodridge Park District, Woodridge Public Library, Woodridge School District 68, and the property managers from the James Avenue multifamily dwellings and Horizon Senior Living Facility has allowed us to continue our outreach these past 5 years. The dedication and commitment of our JNO members and volunteers are the reason we have served over 500 neighbors annually. Without their involvement, JNO would not exist. While our focus is the James Avenue corridor, our events are open to everyone. The organizations being recognized tonight are JNO family members. VFW Post 1578, Woodridge Library, and the Woodridge School District have supported us from day one. The letters to our veterans and active duty members of the military gave our JNO children and youth the opportunity to give back to the community, which was part of our mission. This year, the decision was made to add School District 68. The collaboration resulted in over 1,800 letters being written that will be shared with our local veterans and sent to our soldiers overseas. A special thank you to Patty Nesbitt, the Library Children's Department, Amy Melinder from District 68, who coordinated the project and designed the letter that also served as a coloring book for the children, the school administrators, principals, teachers, and especially our children for a job well done. I'd also like to publicly thank and recognize all of the individuals that have helped us, supported us over the years, starting with our JNO Board of Directors, Vice President Gina Cunningham, Treasurer Pam Beavers, Secretary Denise Kraft, our advisors, Hanny Awad and Chief Brian Cunningham. They didn't know this, but we volunteered them as our advisors, our sponsors, members, volunteers, and supporters. Some are here tonight, and they are here. Others that weren't able to come, we thank them as well. James Avenue Neighborhood Outreach is a party with a purpose, and we are connecting Woodridge, one child at a time. Please feel free to visit our website, jnowoodridge.org, and view information about JNO, our past events, and photos from these events. Thank you for your time.
Well, we thank you very much. Before we move on,
And just one more thing.
oh yes, please.
I become emotional when I think about where we started with this whole project. And to have everyone in the village that has supported us for 5 years, it means so much to all of us. And so I'm standing here, I'm trying not to cry, but I just want to thank everyone that's been a part of JNO for all of these years. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ann. And before we move on, I just want to recognize Mary, Ellie, Betty, and Denise, and also Mary from Rotary. I know you're seated over there. And to say thank you very much. We'll go ahead and continue. I don't know, Bob, if,
Just a minute or two.
okay, sure. No,
I just want to add on to what Ann was talking about. I think it was 2017. Just a few of us got together at Echo Point Park, sat on the picnic tables with crayons and coloring stuff, and had the kids come up to us, and we said, let's write some letters to the editor or letters to the veterans. And it was a pre-formed thing.
Yes.
And they just started writing. And we finished up an hour or 2 hours later, other activities. This was the fall festival was going on. It was very nice sunny afternoon. And I mean, for the VFW, we were pleased with 5, 12, whatever the number was. We thought, wow, this is really pretty cool. And then to carry it on a few steps, few years later, and keep pushing on. Well, that's not only Jana, but let's get 68 involved and having 1,800 letters. Amy handed me a box that was 17.5 pounds. It's just amazing. And you can ask any veteran here or anywhere that's been deployed or not, but away from home. And I don't care what branch of service, and just ask them one simple question. Just really quickly explain a good day. And they will always answer, number one, I got mail. That's a good day. I don't care if you're in the field or on a ship or on a boat or upside down, it doesn't matter. You get mail, that is a good day. So I mean, as easy and as simple as we did what we did, this is really meaningful to every soldier worldwide that gets one of these. I remember getting them, and it was really touching. So we can just keep going and even going further next year. I mean, why stop at 1,800?
Let's keep going, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
Bob, maybe you could introduce yourself and everyone that's here with you on the VFW, please.
Well, let's see, we chartered in 1983. And I have Don Young and Randy Brosh with me today. Don Young is a charter member and still very active. So it's just nice to see that. It's not just a bunch of young guys come in and do this. Don and I are Vietnam veterans. Randy is Cold War veteran. But again, long time members and quite active in the post.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you so much. We're going to show a very short video here. So if you all would like to either have a seat, you can stand or stay up, or have a seat, whichever you feel more comfortable with. But we're going to go ahead and run that. Thank you so much. And we'll finish up here, but thank you again. And we're going to get ready for the video. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Peggy.
Swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic.
Students have responded bravely to this nation's call to duty.
Is to let our community know just how vital the Woodridge VFW is to our community.
Beyond the call of duty, Staff Sergeant David G. Oliver, distinguished.
Thank you. You know what? We have to clap. Him. I have to say, on behalf of a very, very proud community, thank you very much for your service, your dedication, and all your continued works throughout Woodridge, for partnering with such wonderful organizations as the Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach. And it does take a village, the library, the Rotary, the school district, everyone working together. And when you said how many letters you received this year, I said, can we get pictures of all of this? And you were telling me that you and Ann counted them, and it just hit me hard at the 1,800 number. And I know we will do more and continue on, but thank you all very much for all the great works and continued efforts. And Woodridge is stronger because of you and everyone working together. So thank you again very much. And it's our honor to have you here this evening. Yes, thank you so much, Bob. Thank you. Next, we have today the proclamation. I've asked Trustee Kagan to please read for Small Business Saturday.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the Village of Woodridge celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community, and small businesses employ 47.1% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, and a majority of consumers across the United States value the contributions that small businesses make in their community. And according to studies, 97% of consumers are inspired to shop at small, independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday. And Small Business Saturday has been known to help small businesses stand out during the holiday shopping season, contributing significantly to their holiday sales each year. And on average, for every dollar spent at local small businesses, 67 cents stays in the local community. And whereas the Village of Woodridge proudly supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our community. Now, therefore, Gina Cunningham, Mayor of the Village of Woodridge, DuPage, Will, and Cook Counties, Illinois, by virtue of her office, do hereby proclaim Saturday after Thanksgiving, November 27th, 2021, as Small Business Saturday in the Village of Woodridge, and call upon all citizens to recognize the importance of small businesses in our community and to support the small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, we are very, very honored also to have recognition and service of Sergeant Daniel Murray. Going to invite Chief and the Sergeant up, please.
You knew I was going to come up with something like this, right?
Who's that skinny guy?
Thank you, Mayor and Board, for helping us celebrate Sergeant Murray's 20-year anniversary. Seems like we just did this, right? You just got promoted a couple of years ago. I had to dig deep for some new pictures, but I was able to find some. This first one to the left is when Dan was first hired by us. He was hired as a CSO in 2001, and those are brown shirt CSOs, which I have never seen. So that tells you how long ago that was. And this is a picture of Dan with his blue shirt CSO uniform on. And if you look close, I had to look close after I saw this picture. He's actually on a roof. So it's got to make me wonder why they would put Dan on a roof, patrolling a roof, I assume. They just didn't want him anywhere else around. So maybe you could answer that. I'm really not sure what's going on there. So, but that's when Dan first started here. He was here as a CSO, and then he got selected as a patrol officer in 2007. He was a detective in 2015. He worked some really, really big cases. One case was nationally recognized. It was a murder for hire case, and Dan actually was on a national program as a movie star for that case. So he was promoted in 2019 as a sergeant. He has recently been selected as the next tactical sergeant. So that assignment will start in January. But Dan's an evidence technician, firearms instructor. He's an armorer. He's certified by the Illinois Tactical Officers Association as an instructor in rapid deployment, He's in the Multi-Assault Counterterrorism Action Capabilities, MCAT-TAC, and Rescue Task Force. He's done a lot of things for us. As a patrol officer, he's always had a good sense of humor. I've used this picture before. He likes to clown around a little bit. But that middle picture is something we're really not too sure of Dan. We're not sure sometimes if he's a police officer or a firefighter. I think he's got a bed over there at the firehouse. He spends so much time over at the firehouse. So he's a little conflicted. Sometimes he's more of a firefighter than a police officer. And that top picture is Dan after he's shaved his head for Movember. He's done a lot of charities. I can't think of anyone that I even know, not besides the department, that does so much charity work, and we appreciate that, Dan. This is a special picture. When Dan was a detective, we had some evidence that we knew that was along the banks of the DuPage River. So we developed a marine unit, and Dan was in charge of it. That thing in the middle of the river is the boat that Dan was using to collect evidence. After this case, he wasn't allowed to go in the water anymore. So one thing about Dan, he is very interested in weather, and we consider him our local weatherman. And this picture next to him is actually him. He's a tornado chaser. One thing I want to bring up about these two pictures is when we had our tornado, I lived fairly close, and I got here, and Dan was right behind me. And he stayed at least 2 days, and he wouldn't go home. And he eventually went home. And as I was driving home, I wanted to change and take a shower and clean up a little bit. Who do I see on Janes Avenue by St. Scholastica chopping down trees? It was Dan with a chainsaw. I was like, go home and get some rest. But he was there from the start to the end and was a tremendous help for us. One thing also is the most popular community roll call that we've ever had was Dan giving instructions about weather. It was amazing how much people like that. So these are some more pictures I found of Dan. This is Dan in the top corner there. It's Realtor Dan. He's a realtor. The middle guy is Dan, the detective, I think, right? Proud of his mustache. And that one on the bottom, that's how we see Dan every day. So, and I'll end with some nice pictures, right? This is Dan's promotion. And also most recently, he joined our honor guard and was with the VFW on Veterans Day. That was his first event. So we're really proud of that. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Dan.
So I wanted to make this really fast, but I just want to address one thing. I was not in charge of the boat. That was now Deputy Chief Ostorello who was in charge of the boat. But everything else he said was true. I do just want to say thanks to the board, to my command staff here, to the Board of Police Commissioners for all the opportunities I've been given. Obviously, it's evidenced by all the stuff the chief was talking about. I wouldn't be able to do any of that without everybody's support. And most importantly, though, the officers here, some new, some old, some have been with me from the beginning, who've taught me a lot. And I honestly would not be here without them and their support over the years. So I thank them and I thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Well, you can't get away that fast, Dan. Hold on just a moment. Just on behalf of our village, all of our neighbors throughout Woodridge, our village board, all of your colleagues that are here, and we thank you so much for being here this evening. It means so much. But I said to him earlier, you must have started when you were 5, because I do remember when you started. 20 years of outstanding service in our village. There are not enough words to say thank you very much for your dedication, your stewardship, and your leadership in our community. We thank you very much for your service and dedication, and here's to another 20 years at least. All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Happy anniversary. Under the next section, which is comments from the public, we do have 2 public hearings to conduct this evening. The first relates to a variance request for an address at 7855 Woodridge Drive. Going to ask, please, for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Is that trustee Krusek?
Krusek.
Thank you. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Martinez. Going to ask our clerk if you could please call the roll quickly. Thank you.
Trustee Abbott,
Present.
trustee Krusek,
Excuse me, trustee Abbott, is that a yes to open the public?
Oh,
hearing?
I'm sorry. Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask our administrator, please, to read into the record the formal notice for this public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. The agenda item is a public hearing of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Woodridge convened for the purpose of considering an application for a residential variation in reference to Chapter 9-12-1F-14 of the Village Code for the property located at 7855 Woodridge Drive. The applicant is Priscilla Ferguson at the same address, 7855 Woodridge Drive. The applicant is seeking a residential variation to the Village Code to reconstruct a legal non-conforming garage that had been damaged due to a severe weather event. Notice of public hearing on the matter to be considered was published in the Chicago Tribune on October 25th, 2021. And a copy of that certificate of publication shall be made part of this hearing record as Village Exhibit A. Let the record reflect that all of the notices required by law have been given. And staff, I believe, is ready to proceed, and Attorney Pat will swear in the speaker.
Yes, the public hearing now being open. Again, please identify yourself.
Director Kim Porter with the Village of Woodridge.
And Ms. Porter, do you swear or affirm to state the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank
you. Tonight's case consideration again is for a variation request per the 2021 proclamation of emergency that is allowing expedited variation requests. This expedited variation request bypasses the Plan Commission review and recommendation and comes straight to the Village Board for approval. Tonight's variation again is for the reconstruction of garage located at the subject realty, 7855 Woodridge Drive. And again, this is due to damage caused during a tornado weather event. Per the section 922 of the Village Code, a nonconformity, it's basically defined as a structure or the use of land that doesn't currently comply with our regulations in the district it is located. At the time it was constructed, it complied. As time has gone on and codes have changed, it has created some nonconformities throughout the village, and this is one of them. The subject realty is again at 7855 Woodridge Drive. The existing garage that was damaged due to the weather event is 5.65 feet setback from the side yard. The village code now requires 7 feet. This garage was constructed in 1972, and again, at that time of construction, it was in compliance. An aspect of variations per the village code is that there are 4 standards that must be complied with in order for a variation request to receive approval. The first standard is that the physical condition of the premises are unique and do not apply to neighboring premises in the same district. And in response to this particular standard, many of the neighboring properties in the area of this subject realty remained untouched during that weather event or did not sustain the level of damage as the applicant. So yes, staff believes that the applicant meets standards number 1. Standard number 2, the aforesaid unique conditions are not the result of the actions taken by the person. One unique thing about a variation, or some may call a variance, is that you cannot create your own hardship. The condition of and the response to this particular standard is that the condition of the subject property was not created by the applicant. Again, the damage was created by a weather event, a tornado. Staff believes that the applicant meets the second standard. The third of 4 standards is that the strict application of regulations would deprive the owner of the reasonable use of their premises. Well, again, in 1972, when this garage was constructed, it was in compliance. This is now a nonconformity as building codes have changed. strict application. And a response to this standard, excuse me, is that if we require strict application of the regulations, the applicant would not be able to rebuild their garage. We believe that the applicant meets standard number 3. And standard number 4, granting of this variation will be in harmony with the intent of this title and wouldn't be detrimental to any neighboring premises. And staff's response to this standard is that the granting of the variation would be in harmony with the intent of the code. It would allow the applicant to rebuild their garage to pre-tornado conditions. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Porter. I now ask if any board members have any questions at this time.
If there are no questions, Mayor, I would like to offer the applicant any additional opportunity here to provide testimony, any further evidence, or any members of the public that are in the audience tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, thank you. No other questions from anyone? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to ask for a motion, please, to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Page, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Blair. Going to ask our clerk if you would please call the roll.
Trustee Abbott,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan. Motion passes.
We will now move to public hearing that is now the proposed FY2022 village budget. Going to ask please for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank
Trustee
you, Trustee
Krusek.
Krusek, and a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez. Going to ask our clerk again to please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Abbott.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And I see Tracy's here and ready to present. And then going to ask our village attorney to please do the swearing in at this time.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Tracy Morocco. Good evening, Mayor and Board. Tonight we're here for the public hearing on the 2022 budget. But first, let's take a detour back to look at our year-end estimates for 2021. So we're going to focus on the general fund. In the general fund, we're projecting to end the year at $21 million in total revenues in the general fund. This is $1.3 million higher than budget. And that's due to better performing sales tax and income tax revenues, as we've discussed. Expenditures are projected to end the year at $23 million. And this is about $530,000 less than budget, primarily due to personnel savings due to department restructuring following the voluntary separation program and unfilled positions. So how does this all impact the bottom line? So for the 2021 budget, we were projecting a surplus of 3.9 million, a deficit of 3.9 million. But with better performing revenues and lower expenses in the general fund, we're now projecting to end the year with a deficit of $2 million, which leaves us with a total ending fund balance of $18.8 million. And then the unassigned fund balance, which excludes the $1.8 million in IPBC reserves, as well as the amount needed for next year's deficit. The total unassigned fund balance is $15.3 million, which is 65% of next year's operating expenses. Okay, looking at the 2022 budget now. The total beginning, this is across all funds. The total beginning fund balance is $121 million. We are projecting $58.5 million in budgeted revenues for 2022. And budgeted expenditures are projected at $75.8 million, which leaves us with an ending fund balance across all funds of $103 million. So the budget that you're considering tonight is balanced through the planned use of reserves, the budget plans for reforestation efforts following the June 20th tornado. And the budget invests nearly $34 million in capital improvements this year, 20 million of which is for the Police and Public Works Facility project. So this colorful pie chart is the total revenues for the 2022 budget. As I mentioned, it's $58.5 million. You see we have a nice diversified revenue base in the village. So total revenues are nearly 25% more than the 2021 budget. And that's because the economy is improving, so our sales tax revenues are increasing, and also sales tax revenues are improving due to the online sales tax. Income tax revenues are also projected to increase due to improved corporate profits. And their budget also includes $5 million in bond proceeds for the final issuance of the Police and Public Works Facility project. So the main source of revenue for the village is we have charges for services at 18%. That includes our water sales, followed by intergovernmental revenues. That's a lot of our grants and income tax and use tax revenues, followed by sales tax. And I would like to mention that this revenue projection does not include ARPA funding for 2022. So 2022 expenditures total $75.8 million. This is 23% more than the 2021 budget, driven by the increase in capital projects, as we'll discuss in the next couple slides. And then this is the slide. Actually, this is our list of capital projects that are not, it excludes the water fund. So here's our Police and Public Works Facility project at $20 million. Road improvements totals over $2 million. We do have some facility maintenance projects for 1 Plaza and 5 Plaza, including 2 generators and a roof replacement for 5 Plaza. Storm sewer improvements total $415,000. Traffic signals total $700,000. Sidewalk improvements $340,000, and tornado reforestation efforts total $110,000. Any questions on the overall budget before we move on to the general fund? Okay. Focusing on the general fund. So for 2022, we're projecting a beginning fund balance of $18.8 million. Revenues are budgeted at $21.8 million. Expenditures are budgeted at $23.3 million, which leaves us with a deficit of $1.5 million and an ending fund balance of $17.3 million, which equates to a fund balance of 57% of next year's operating expenses. And here's another colorful pie chart of our general fund revenues. As I mentioned, it's $21.8 million. This is nearly 9% or $2 million more than the 2021 budget. And that's due to the increases in sales tax and income tax, as we mentioned. So sales tax makes up 30% of the general fund's revenues, followed by intergovernmental revenues and property taxes. Now looking at general fund expenditures, they total $23.3 million for the 2022 budget. That's about $300,000 less than the 2021 budget due to personnel savings. And as a service provider, the village's largest expense in the general fund is personnel at 53%, or about $12.2 million, followed by professional services and the police pension contribution at 20%. So the past few years have been challenging, to say the least, for the village, our residents and businesses. The pandemic has created an uncertain economic environment, which is likely to continue into 2022. Also, revenue growth has been minimal over the past few years. And even with recent improvements in our revenue, we're still facing a structural deficit in the general fund, and which has also been caused by our increase in expenses, including our police pension contribution. And as we've discussed, as the village is now over 60 years old, our infrastructure needs will continue to increase, which is evident in this year's budget with nearly 45% of all expenses going to capital projects. Okay. Any questions before we move on to the water and sewer fund? Okay. Okay, so for 2022, the water and sewer fund, the beginning fund balance is projected to be 8.4 million. We're projecting $10.3 million in revenues, $14.7 million in expenses, and we are projecting an ending fund balance of 3.9 million in the water and sewer fund. The 2022 budget includes $6 million in water and sewer infrastructure improvements. We'll discuss those in a couple of slides. And the 2022 budget anticipates $145,000 in additional revenues from the 20-cent increase to the capital improvement fee. So this is the revenue makeup for the water and sewer fund. Totals $10.3 million in total revenues for 2022. Water sales make up 2/3 of the revenue sources in this budget. They total about $6.7 million in 2022, followed by fixed water maintenance fee, just under $2 million. And the capital improvement fee and sewer fees come in third at 6% or $650,000. Water and sewer expenses total $14.7 million. The water operations is the largest cost center in this budget. For 2022, its budget is $10.2 million. 4.6 million of that is the purchase of water from the DuPage Water Commission. Sanitary services is the second largest cost center. Its budget is 2.5 million, and nearly 2 million of that is in capital projects. And some of the water and sewer capital projects for 2022 include the 75th Street water main replacement, water tower painting and repair, Crabtree sanitary interceptor, sewer capital maintenance, and the Mending Wall lift station rebuild. Any questions on the village's budget before I turn it over, or before I present the library's budget? Okay, so now we have the library's budget. Director Dubé is here tonight to answer any questions you might have. The library approved their budget, on September 15th. So I just have a high-level summary of their budget. The total 2022 budget is $4,030,926. This is a $30,000 increase from their 2021 budget. Several capital projects were delayed due to COVID-19, including a roof replacement, which I think is going on right now, and then exterior painting and boiler maintenance. COVID-19 really changed how the library does their business. They implemented virtual programming, curbside service, take-home crafts, and online library card applications. And all of those services continue today, even though they are reopened. The library, to help control expenses, the library has also restructured some of their staffing, and they are cautious about replacing or filling vacant positions. And they continue to analyze their services and their programming to make the best decisions on how to meet the needs of our residents. And these are the library's revenues for 2022. They total $4,030,926. 97% of that, or $3.9 million, is from property taxes, followed by miscellaneous revenues. And their budget is balanced, so their total expenditures are also $4,030,926. Personnel is also their largest expense at 64%, or $2.6 million for 2022, followed by program materials and supplies and professional services. And that concludes our presentation. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much, Tracy. I'm going to ask now if any board members have any questions at this time. Okay. I'm also now going to open it up to anyone in our audience. If anyone would like to make a comment regarding this discussion that we've been having. Seeing no one, will go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask, please, for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Page. Going to ask our clerk if you would please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek,
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Trustee Abbott.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, everyone, and to all of our presenters here this evening, and Director Dubay, thank you for being here. So now we're going to pause as we move to comments that are not related to our agenda items this evening. Going to ask if there's any written public comments that have been received prior to the meeting that do not relate to tonight's agenda. If so, we'd like to enter those into the public record.
Thank you, Mayor. We have received no prior written comments.
Thank you very much. Going to now ask if there are any members of the public who have joined us here this evening, either that would like to to make a comment on items not related to tonight's agenda. And that would be either here in person or remotely via Zoom. Seeing no one?
We have no remote.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to move to comments that are related to this evening's agenda. We will now provide members of the public an opportunity to provide their comments on any items that do appear on this evening's board agenda, please. Going to again pause to acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to the meeting and enter those into the public records if there are any. We have none. Thank you. And then lastly, any members of the public who have joined this meeting either in person or remotely wishing to comment on items that do appear on tonight's agenda. If so, we'll have you move to the podium. And no one?
Mayor, we have no remote attendees.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go ahead and move to tonight's omnibus agenda. I'm going to ask please for a motion to approve items A through D.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Blair. And a second, please.
Second, Trustee Kusak.
Thank you, Trustee Krusak. Is there a request for any item to be considered separately this evening? Okay, seeing none. Going to ask our administrator to please read the items that appear in the omnibus agenda.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. Members of the board, good evening. Item A, ordinance 2021-36 is an ordinance granting a minor amendment to a planned unit of development for 8202 Lamont Road. This is in reference to Midwest Badminton, signage number 1. Item B is ordinance 2021-37. It's an ordinance granting a minor amendment to a planned unit development, also 8202 Lamont Road, and also Midwestern Badminton. This is signage number 2. Item C is resolution 2021-112, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of certain required improvements in the bill of sale for certain improvements for Cedarhurst Lot 2. This is Edwards Elmhurst Health. Finally, item D, resolution 2021-113 is a resolution authorizing the village of Woodridge, to enter into an agreement with the village prosecutor, Christine Sharkowitz of Oak Brook, Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Abbott.
Aye.
Trustee Krusak.
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, everyone. This evening, under the mayor's report, I do have a few items that I would like to share with everyone. First of all, we are very thankful to our public library working with the village for a lessons learned, which is from our tornado. It's regarding insurance coverage, tips and information and best practices, which will be held on December 8th, which is Wednesday, December 8th, 2021, 7 to 8 p.m. right here at our public library. Please join the Deputy Director of Consumer Education and Protection with the State of Illinois Department of Insurance. This will be an overview addressing the basics of good insurance coverage and making insurance claims and decisions. This is in direct response to the challenges faced by our community and other communities around us following the tornado in June. The Deputy Director will also touch on flood insurance, tiered deductibles, and the role of insurance adjusters. It's a very timely topic. Many people are dealing with the impacts of this, so I'm sure it will be well attended and it's well needed. But this is a jointly sponsored event by the library and the Village of Woodridge, and there'll be lots of giveaways, and it sounds like a very fun evening. There'll also be an emergency packet given out with a flashlight, water resistant, and so you can hold all your important documents, which is very, very necessary. Anyway, thank you very much for taking the lead on this, along with the village, on this very, very timely and necessary program. We appreciate it very much. Next, Toys for Tots drop off right here at Village Hall. So once again, we are collecting for the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation, and we will accept new unwrapped toys for boys and girls from infants to age 12. If you would like to please bring everything here at the village, you can do so. More information can be found on our website, but the items, and it probably is good to look on the website because they do have some follow-up instructions as to items that they are asking to not please bring to the drop-off. And that would be, they're asking, please avoid stuffed animals, clothing, food, and gift cards. Monetary donations can be made via credit card, and you can check out the information at illinoistoysfortots.org. A drop-off box is located right here at Village Hall, which is 5 Plaza Drive, and toys can be dropped off until December 10th. Since 1947, the U.S. Marine Corps have looked after America's neediest children, and then this Toys for Tots program has been excellent. We've done this several years. So more information can be found right on the village's website. And something that we should all be excited for is, once again, and this has been a decades-long activity for the village of Woodridge, and it says here, ho, 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 guess who will be coming back to Woodridge? And it says here, the Woodridge Special Events Committee is once again sponsoring the annual Santa Comes to Woodridge event. Free gift bags will be given to the first 200 children who come to see Santa and Mrs. Claus on Saturday, December 4th. This event will be held at St. Scholastica Parish in their activity center at 7800 Janes Avenue from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Masks are asked, please. Santa and Mrs. Claus will arrive via our Woodridge Police Department escort. We thank them very much for doing that. There's many, many instructions on here. You can check out the village's website for more information. And this has been a really long, wonderful tradition for over 50 years. It is a free event, and letters to Santa are always greatly appreciated. So we thank everyone and hope to see you there. Lastly, we do have a Neighbors Helping Neighbors disaster recovery event coming up, and it will be at Clara's, who is hosting the event. It is a fundraiser buffet dinner on Tuesday, December 7th, which in Woodridge is Giving Tuesday. It will go from 4 until 7 p.m. and community invitations are right now being worked on and will go out from Clara's, and it will be also shared with the village. You can check Clara's website for information, as well as the Village of Woodridge. Once, I'm thinking it's probably going to be right in the next couple of days that those invitations should be coming out. Dinner with a wine and beer is included. It is $30 per person. All families impacted by the tornado, which we currently have 170 families on our list, are invited as guests. And anyone else who would like to attend, we thank you. Your donation of $30 per person will directly benefit, and 100% will go to Woodridge Neighbors Helping Neighbors. So we thank Clara's very much for doing that. That is my report. Very, I'd like to hand it over to our village administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. First item this evening is item A, ordinance 2021-38. It's an ordinance granting a variation for the reconstruction of a garage located at 7855 Woodridge Drive. This is due to damage caused by the June weather event. And this is pursuant to the 2021 proclamation of emergency, which allows for an expedited variance approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to ask for a motion, please, to approve ordinance 2021-38.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Krusek. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Abbott.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, item B is ordinance 2021-39. It's an ordinance adopting an annual budget for the Village of Woodridge for all corporate purposes in lieu of an annual appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022.
Thank you very much. Looking for a motion to approve ordinance 2021-39.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Page, and a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Blair. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Abbott,
Aye.
trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item C is ordinance 2021-40. Is an ordinance amending the village code of the Village of Woodridge, Title 7, Chapter 5, Section 7-5D-2, Water Service Rates and Charges. This is board consideration of an ordinance to increase the capital improvement fee from 60 cents to 80 cents per 1,000 gallons for all usage billed on or after January 1st, 2022.
Looking for a motion to approve ordinance 2021-40.
So moved.
Trustee
Trustee Krusek.
Krusek, thank you very much. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Blair. Any discussion on this item? If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Abbott,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Last item this evening, item D, ordinance 2021-41. It's ordinance authorizing the disposal of personal property owned by the Village of Woodridge.
To ask for a motion to approve ordinance 2021-41, please.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Martinez, and a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Krusek. Any discussion on this item? If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Abbott,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, everyone. With no further business to discuss this evening, we do have a need to convene in an executive session immediately following our adjournment. The purpose of this executive session is to review and discuss imminent or probable litigation and the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals of the public body. I'd like to first of all thank everyone before we do adjourn. We so appreciate your connection with us as the Village of Woodridge. And please know that all of us, right here from the Village Board, the Village of Woodridge, send our best wishes to you and your family for a happy Thanksgiving. We are so grateful for all of our neighbors, our veterans, our VFW post, our Janes Avenue Neighborhood Outreach, and other organizations that are truly so important in Woodridge, to all of our businesses, our commissions, our boards, our committees, our volunteers, our community leaders and organizations, and to our entire village team. We are Woodridge grateful. Please do take good care, and don't forget to shop Woodridge, please. We thank you. I'd now like to ask for a motion to adjourn this regular meeting of the Village Board. Ask for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Krusek, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Page. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It is 8:01 p.m. and the motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much for being here and have a good evening.